Tata Group of companies is one of India's oldest business empires. Pioneering technologies and uplifting the nation across 2 centuries, what started as an export trading company is now a multinational conglomerate which revolutionized the Indian industry. The father of Indian industry and one among the faces of Indian currency, the recipient of Bharat Ratna and the first Indian since independence to receive the Knight Grand Cross of the Order of the British. All 3 of them were from the same family and were leaders of the Tata Group, an empire led by an exceptional family. How did the Tata Group reach where they are now, and what separates them from the rest? We will embark on a journey from Nagpur across the entire world. We have to go all the way back to the colonial rule of the British Raj in India. India was an exporting country. This meant that most of the upcoming Indian entrepreneurs have to choose the export business. Jamsetji Tata had seized the perfect opportunity. His father was an exporter in Mumbai. On the quest to expand his father's business, Jamsetji traveled to Hong Kong, Japan, China, and Great Britain. In 1968, the 29-year-old Jamsetji Nusarwanji Tata started a trading company with a capital of 21,000, the early beginnings of what would one day become the Tata Group. The very next year, he set up a textile mill in Nagpur named the Empress Mills. Even then, Jamsetji had a sense of service to the community. The Empress Mills had employee welfare initiatives such as healthcare benefits and pensions at a time when this wasn't even required by law. In 1892, the J.N. Tata Endowment Fund was established to help Indian students that pursue higher studies abroad. His expeditions across the world exposed him to various practices and potential of the outside world. This included the Industrial Revolution, which inspired him to start one in India. Jamsetji's goals were to build a hydropower plant, a world-class learning organization, a world-class iron and steel corporation, and an extraordinary resort. In 1901, he started working on a steel production plant, which he takes inspiration from the ones in Germany. The idea of the hydroelectric power plant was sown during his visit to the Niagara Falls in 1903. The Taj Mahal Palace Hotel was inaugurated on December 16, 1903. Still running, this is one of the most luxurious hotels in the world and has unmatchable levels of hospitality. However, Jamsetji had to leave the world behind, along with his dreams. On the 19th of May 1904, Jamsetji passed away in Germany, leaving his dreams and the means to his sons, Ratanji and Dorabji Tata. They consolidate their holdings to a single holding company held by charitable trusts, and Dorabji Tata becomes the chairman. In 1907, Tata Iron and Steel Company, now Tata Steel, was established in Sakchi, and along with that a hospital for the village. The Indian Institute of Science was established in 1909 with the support of the Tatas. The first batch was in 1911. The leadership passed on to the next generation in 1938. The leadership, however, went to a distant cousin who seems to be having an incredible background. Jahangir Tata, commonly called JRD. He had been in the company since 1925. In 1925, the then 24-year-old became the first to receive a pilot's license in India. His passion and fascination with flying led him to create the Tata Air Service in 1932. Tata Air Service, now Air India, initially carried mail but soon started passenger flights and also assisted the British in the Second World War. The airlines, however, was nationalized by Jawaharlal Nehru in 1953. Even though JRD was the chairman until 1977, the company could not fly as high as it once used to as they drowned in debt. JRD tried his best to keep politics away from the business. The group continued its expansion with the establishment of Tata Engineering and Locomotive Company, which is now called Tata Motors, in 1945. Even though they built locomotives, they decided to diversify into commercial vehicles in 1954 by partnering with German car company Daimler. India's first cosmetics brand, Lakme, was launched in 1952, which was a huge step towards the empowerment of women. The company, however, was sold to Hindustan Unilever in 1984. Voltas was incorporated in 1954, which was a leading engineering solutions provider and air conditioning brand. JRD expanded the group from 14 to 95 over the 52 years of his leadership. This included India's first software services company, Tata Consultancy Services. But all of this came at the cost of losing the amount of ownership that Tata Sons had. JRD faced obstacles set by the Indian government. The Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act, which was launched in 1969, seemed to affect Tata in a disproportionate manner. A reduction in the ownership led to a loss in control. The company started to fail as they started spiraling out of control. Who could save this empire from declining? This is when Ratan Tata came into the bigger picture. In 1971, he was given the responsibility over a struggling company called Nelco. Nelco, which just had a 3% market share, was once India's biggest producer of radios. Ratan saw the bigger picture. He knew that time could only go forward. He focused on newer technology and prospects for the future. Instead of saving the radio, he directed efforts towards the development of newer technologies such as satellite communications. Nelco was able to stand straight again, and this embarked the beginning of a new era. Ratan affirmed leadership of the Tata Group just in time for the economic liberalization in India. Even though this might seem like a perfect scenario for the Tata Group, which faced a lot of problems due to the socialistic reforms by the Indian government, the liberalization did pose a new type of threat: foreign companies. The loss of ownership during JRD's era made it even harder for the Tata Group to make quick, decisive changes. Ratan's choice of action was rather not straightforward. He bought shares in the Tata subsidiaries such as Tata Steel and Tata Motors, but the funds were from the sale of around 20% of Tata Sons, the holding company. Through the control he now has through the purchase of shares in the subsidiaries, he was able to organize the hundreds of subsidiaries into 7 sectors. Even though he did fix the major problem of losing control, he still had another problem at large. Tata found it difficult to compete with the international competitors as they started losing their market shares. He then decided to employ the tactic, if you can't beat them, buy them. This worked out brilliantly for the Tata Group. What once posed a problem is now one of the biggest strengths of the company. The foreign supply chains and the newer technology helped improve the business at the core. At the same time, the Tata Group was also able to diversify and expand into foreign markets. Tata Tea acquired the 160-year-old British Tetley Group in 2000. Tata Tea is now Tata Global Beverages and is the second largest tea brand. This was the beginning of a binge shopping for the Tata Group. In the next 10 years, hundreds of companies were acquired to strengthen the subsidiaries of the Tata Group. In 2007, Tata Steel acquired Chorus, now called Tata Steel Europe. It is now the second largest steel producer in Europe, providing services to the automotive, construction, and engineering industries. This was then the biggest corporate takeover by an Indian company. And the very next year, a $2 billion acquisition of the iconic British car maker Jaguar Land Rover by Tata Motors took place. In 2012, Tata Global Beverages Limited entered into a joint venture with the coffee giant Starbucks. The very next 5 years had the fastest rollout of stores that Starbucks has ever seen. The international acquisitions really paid off for the Tata Group, and the Tata Group became one of the biggest conglomerates to exist. In 2018, Tata Consultancy Services became the first ever Indian IT company, which is listed to have over $100 billion in market capitalization. Over 66% of the share capital of Tata Sons is held by philanthropic trusts. Tata Medical Center, a cancer care and treatment facility designed especially to serve the poor, was inaugurated by Ratan Tata in 2011. Jamsetji Tata is considered the biggest philanthropist globally in the last 100 years by donating an estimated $102 billion. Tata Group considers themselves as the custodian of public good, calibrating its mission to address the world's most urgent needs. Despite their rapid expansion, growth, and success, the Tata Group remains true to their cause and the vision of their founder, Jamsetji Tata. On the 175th birth anniversary of Jamsetji Tata, the Indian government released 2 commemorative coins of the denominations 100 and 5 with his face on it. This was to celebrate and honor Jamsetji and his efforts. The Tata Group has impacted every aspect of all Indians through their products, innovations, and social services. The impact they have had on India and its future has made one agree that Tata's history is the history of Indian industry. Would Tata be able to continue their contributions to their noble cause? Would they continue to pioneer new technologies? Will the successors to leadership be able to recreate what their legendary predecessors did? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our other videos.